Elmore, President and founder of the Proud Black Buddhist World Association, here to bring you another exciting Black Buddhist lecture. My lecture today is Buddhism Blues Break, Being Black Buddhist lecture. True Buddhism is not some Asian on a mountain meditating. You see, the highest teachings of the Buddha is that of the Lotus Sutra. Now, the Lotus Sutra is the highest of the Buddhas, and it's about the law of cause and effect. You see, we at the Proud Black Buddhist World Association practice the teachings as taught by the 13th century Black Japanese Buddhist sage Nichiren Shonin. You see, Nichiren, the way that he taught his disciples, he left letters. These letters are called the Gosho. Now, Nichiren explains the essence of Buddhism in a Gosho called the Gift of Rice. And in the Gift of Rice, Nichiren left 4 points to give you a clear understanding of Buddhism. Now, Nichiren writes, quote, number 1, the Golden Light Sutra states, quote, to have a profound knowledge of this world is itself Buddhism. Second point, the Nirvana Sutra states, quote, all of the non-Buddhist scriptures and writings in society are themselves Buddhist teachings, not non-Buddhist teachings. Third point, 6th volume of the Lotus Sutra reads, quote, no worldly affairs of life or work are ever contrary to the true reality. Fourth point, 6th volume of the Lotus Sutra reads, quote, the first 2 sutras are profound, since their meaning is still shallow and fails to approach that of the Lotus Sutra. They relate to secular matters in terms of Buddhism, whereas the Lotus Sutra explains that secular matters are the entirety of Buddhism, unquote. Now, this is the point we make. Most people teach Buddhism as the Gosho reads, they relate to secular matters in terms of Buddhism, whereas the Lotus Sutra explains that in the end, secular matters are the entirety of Buddhism. You see, today, my lecture is regarding a secular matter called the blues. Most people are screwed up about Buddhism, and most confuse Buddhism with Asian culture. When they think of Buddhism, what they see is only Asian culture. See, please understand, other than Tina Turner and the movie What's Love Got to Do with It, there does not exist any ubiquitous or major story about black people who are Buddhists. In regards to the Buddhist religion in American culture, it is all a myth or hyperbole. You see, the greatest myth about Buddhism, the religion, is the perception of the Buddhist Superman. And we can see this in the Kung Fu movie where Bruce Lee talks about the finger pointing to the moon, and you see this so-called Buddhist Superman, which is a lot of nonsense. First of all, I want you to take a look at a scene from the Bruce Lee Kung Fu movie where Bruce Lee was this Kung Fu kind of priest guy in the movie, and I want you to take a look at this. Let's watch a scene from the Bruce Lee movie where you see this so-called super Buddhist man. Let's watch this scene.
Kick me. Kick me. What was that? An exhibition? We need emotional content. Try again. I said emotional content, not anger. Now try again. With me. That's it. How did it feel to you?
Let me think.
Don't think. Feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory.
This is what Nichiren writes about this issue. And now the Gosho is called opening of the eyes. And this is what Nichiren says. He says, quote, again, the men of Zen school says, quote, the Lotus Sutra is a finger pointing at the moon, but the Zen school is the moon itself. Once one has the moon, what use is the finger? Zen is the mind of the Buddha. The Lotus Sutra is the word of the Buddha. After the Buddha had finished preaching the Lotus Sutra and all other sutras, he held up a single flower and through this gesture conveyed his enlightenment to Mahayana alone. As a token of his tacit communication, the Buddha presented Mahayana with his own robe, which together with the enlightenment he handed down through the 28 patriarchs of India and so on through the 6 patriarchs of China. For many years now, the whole country has been intoxicated and deceived by this kind of falsehood. You see, what they teach in Zen Buddhism is a falsehood. See, Zen Buddhism is a falsehood and nonsense. Only the Lotus Sutra is the true teachings of Buddhism. The one thing that you should understand about Buddhism is that the Buddhists were a part of a great black civilization. Civilizations like Magadha, Nubia, Egypt, Ethiopia. So we can be clear. White racists erased all black Buddhist history. And the Buddhism that you see is Asian culture, whereas all black history, culture, and language has been extricated from the Buddhist teachings. Now, in regards to our Black Buddhist lecture today, and that lecture again is Buddhism Blues Break, Being Black Buddhist lecture. You see, this is a clear-cut way to move Buddhism out of the history, culture, and perception of Asian Buddhist masters in our way to bring Buddhism or the Buddhist teachings or the Lotus Sutra to everyday life. The one thing that I want you to understand and be clear about, the Buddhist faith is being a Buddha does not make you a Superman or a Superwoman as we see in the movies about Buddhists. I have been a Buddhist for 48 years and I can clearly give you a black perspective of Buddhism. We at the Proud Black Buddhist World Association practice the Buddhist teachings as taught by the 13th century black Japanese Buddhist sage Nichiren Shonin. Nichiren puts it in the very difference between a Buddha and a common mortal. Let us be clear. A Buddha is not a Superman. This is what Nichiren writes about the matter in his first Gosho titled Attaining Buddhahood in This Lifetime. This is what Nichiren writes about a Buddha and a common mortal. He writes, quote, "It is the same with a Buddha and an ordinary being. When deluded, one is called an ordinary being. But when enlightened, one is called a Buddha," unquote. So we are clear. What is the difference between a Buddha and an ordinary being? The difference is our enlightenment. See, Nichiren gives us an example in the Go Show on attaining Buddhahood in this lifetime, where he writes, quote, "When deluded, one is called an ordinary being, but when enlightened, one is called a Buddha. This is similar to a tarnished mirror that will shine like a jewel when polished. A mind now clouded by the illusions of innate darkness of life is like a tarnished mirror. But when polished, it is sure to become like a clear mirror reflecting the essential nature of phenomena and the true aspect of reality. Arouse deep faith and diligently polish your mirror night and day." How should you polish it? Only by chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, unquote. You see, we who are Nichiren Buddhists chant the phrase Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Through chanting the phrase Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, we tap our inherent Buddha nature. You see, please get this image out of your mind of some Asian on a mountain meditating. The Buddha teaches us that we become enlightened through hearing the Lotus Sutra. Now, the title of the Lotus Sutra is called Myoho Renge Kyo, and it's Nichiren who added the Pali word, Namu. Namu means to awaken, and we awaken to the correct law of cause and effect teachings. In fact, we chant to an object of worship called the Gohanzan. Now, the Gohanzan is described as the treasure tower with 7 wonderful treasures. Now, what are these wonderful treasures of the Gohanzan, or the treasure tower? Now, this is called an altar, or in Japanese it means a butsudan. But the treasure tower, and let me show this to you. The treasure tower is what we call a Gohanzan. Now, the Gohanzan is the scroll that's in there. We chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo to the scroll or to the treasure tower. This treasure tower is also known as a Gohanzan, and we set up our altar, and the word Namu also means to give reverence. We give reverence to the law, or we give reverence to the Lotus Sutra. Now, there are 7 jewels adorned on the treasure tower. The first jewel, or teachings, is number 1, hearing the correct teachings. Number 2, believing the correct teachings. Number 3, keeping the precepts, or that means living by a code of moral conduct. 4, engaging in meditation. So you'd understand that chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo is meditation. Number 5, practicing assiduously. That means every day we practice to become a better person. Number 6, renouncing attachments. You see, instead of getting hung up on something or getting overindulgent in something, there's a word in Buddhism called Chudo, the middle way, not so much to the left and not so much to the right, but center ways. We don't drink too much, we don't party too much, we don't do this too much, but we go center ways. We do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. That is the Buddhist teachings. Now, the 7th is reflecting upon oneself. That's the 7th treasure. See, when you chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, That is the same as observing the mind. You observe the mind and you reflect upon yourself. When you reflect upon yourself, then you see yourself and you can make the proper causes for happiness in your life. Now, as a black man, I bring Buddhism to you via black culture. That is why my lecture is called Buddhism Blues Break, Being Black Buddhist lecture. You do not have to be black to understand this lecture. When we say being black, we put things in the historical and cultural context. You see, white people enjoy the blues today more than the young black people. See, young black people, that's all they have was the blues, but they're not so much into the blues. But actually, the majority of people today who get into the blues, who support the blues, and buy the blues records and come to blues concerts, are white people, because white people enjoy the art or the culture of the blues. So even though it's a black culture, it's not exclusively a black culture, it's just a human expression. Now, we chant the words, Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Words have power. And let me tell you some powerful blues words. Now, what does it mean if a woman look at a man and say, I got a smile on my face and you didn't put it there? Now, if a man tells a woman, I got a smile on my face and you didn't put it there, what in the hell does that mean? You see, in the Buddhist faith, we have a new way of looking at life in religion. See, let me put it this way, that you can understand. See, the Christian and the Islamic religion has a lot of Tao Shanat rules and regulations. We Nichiren Buddhists have no rules. We only have the law of Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Let me give you an example or story. My brother had this manager's job working for Shelby County government. And my brother was a good man, a good family man. And, I went to the office and I saw this pretty woman. And this woman is apparently a good wife, a good mother. My brother told me, he said, yeah, man, that's actually, I hit that. We get off work early, we'll go to lunch, we go to the hotel, do the last, and we come back, everything is good, and hey, that's just the way it is. You see, in Buddhism, everything is not right or wrong or a rule, but in Buddhism, everything is the law of cause and effect. When you make a cause, you're going to get an effect. And that is the true story of Buddhism. That is the story of blues. See, let's look at blues not from the standpoint of black culture, but let's look at it from the law of cause and effect, or Myoho Renge Kyo. You see, we are working to the correct law and effect teachings. Now the point is, cause and effect will catch up with you. Now let us get into a cause and effect blues story and explain Buddhism. You see, these are the words to a 1982 song recorded by the late Z.Z. Hill 30 years ago. And this is what he says. He says, and now the song is called Someone Else Is Stepping In. Now these are the lyrics. He says, I came home this morning and oh, what a shock. When I found out my key no longer fit my lock, she says, oh baby, you can go back where you been. Oh Lord, you've been stepping out, now someone else is stepping in. Now, you see, true Buddhism is about the law of cause and effect. Jesus or God did not have nothing to do with the woman changing that lock on that door. The woman got tired of the man cheating, and she broke the relationship or she became enlightened, and she made a cause and effect. Plain and simple, she changed the lock on the door. Now, further, the lyrics read, she said, I was a fool that you could count on, the one that you could call when no one else was at home. Oh, baby, remember how you treated me then? See, you've been stepping out, now someone else is stepping in. So cry your heart out, you won't get through to me. I'm a brand new woman and everyone can see. A new way of walking is long overdue. My broken heart has been lifted and finally over you. She say, I got a new way of wearing my hair. I got a smile on my face and you didn't put it there. Oh baby, I done found myself a new friend. You see, you've been stepping out. Now someone else is stepping in. So cry your heart out, but you won't get through to me. I'm a brand new woman and everyone can see. A new way of walking is long overdue. My broken heart is mended and finally over you. She said, I got a new way of wearing my hair. I got a smile on my face and you didn't put it there. Oh baby, done found myself a new friend. Now that's the lyrics of the song, Someone Else is Stepping In. You see, we black people express ourselves via music and culture called blues. See, the blues is only cause and effect phenomena. See, the blues is Buddhism. You see, the Lotus Sutra reads that all phenomena manifest its true entity. Now, this is called Ichinen Sanzen, or the 3,000 realms in a momentary state of existence. See, the Lotus Sutra reads that all phenomena manifest its true entity. That is the 10 aspects. That is, everything has an appearance. It has a nature. It has an entity that leads to a power. The power leads to influence. The influence happens because of what? An inherent cause. And the inherent cause happens because of a relationship. And the relationship happens because there's a latent effect, there's a manifest effect, and there's a consistency of beginning to end. So you got 10 aspects. Now within these 10 aspects, there are 10 worlds so that we experience. Worlds are life conditions. For example, a woman whose husband was leaving her, wouldn't come back, she go into a world of hell. Or she goes into the second world, which is a world of hunger. And the third world is the world of animality, where she lives on her instincts. And boy, this woman, based on this song, went into the fourth world, the world of anger. Now, she left the world of anger, and the higher world is the world of humanity that many people go through. Nothing good, nothing bad. You ain't in the blues, but nothing good, nothing bad. That's humanity. Now, when something good happens, you go into the world of heaven. Now, but that's the sixth world. Now, the seventh world is the world of learning, where you learn to do things. And boy, once you learn, you go into that eighth world, and that is the world of self-realization, where you begin to understand phenomena, you begin to do things, and once you become self-realized, you become smart and you take actions because you become more enlightened. But then the ninth world is the world of Bodhisattva, where you become, I guess what you say, Christ-like. You want to do good to help others. That's the world of Bodhisattva. Now the 10th world is the world which we Buddhists strive to be, and that is the world of Buddhahood, where we tap our highest life's potential. That is, we tap our innate energy, wisdom, and we do things to create good fortune. So now these are the 10 worlds. Now the 10 worlds, there are 10 worlds, and each world exists within each world. That's 100 worlds times the 10 aspects. Now you got the 10 aspects times the 3 realms. Now the 3 realms, the first one is the realm of the 5 components. Now the woman had the realm of the 5 components. That is, there's an appearance. Now, when her husband did all this, she gained what? A perception. See, appearance, perception, then she had a conception. And boy, she had a volition, that is, she exerted her will. And the fifth one was consciousness. And now the second realm is the realm of living beings. And the third is the realm of the environment. So what you got was 3,000 worlds in a momentary state of existence. And another way to put this is Myoho Renge Kyo, or Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, because we all live in these 3,000 worlds of momentary state of existence. Now, we who are Buddhists, what we do, instead of moving into the world of anger, where you are out to hurt the man, you hurt him suffer, he said, you can't get through to me, I got a new way of walking, and you try to love, indulge it, and bringing pain back to him, you are making a cause for things, the same thing that happened to you. So we who chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, we tap the world of Bodhisattva, of the world of Buddhahood, to where we say, I'm not going to do that no more. I'm not going to make certain causes. I'm not going to make a cause to hate. I'm not going to make a cause for revenge. But I am going to be a higher person, and I'm going to chant to bring out my higher good fortune to where I won't get a man, or a man get a woman who will cheat on them. And you begin to bring out your higher life condition, your higher of enlightened self. We hope that we've given you a deeper and a better understanding about Buddhism.
I came home this morning, and oh, what a shock. When I found out my key no longer fit my lock, she said, oh, baby, you can go back where you've been. Oh, Lord. See, you've been stepping out. Now someone